All right, everyone, get ready. Today we are diving deep into happiness.
Happiness.
Yes. But not just, the fleeting kind.
Yeah.
We're talking about the happiness you cultivate, that you build into your life day after day.
Right, the kind that sticks around.
Exactly. And luckily for us, we have a fantastic guide in this deep dive.
Oh.
Phil Gerbyshak's book, The Happiness Practices.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It really is. He's packed it with research-backed strategies.
Research back.
But not like some pie-in-the-sky ideas.
Right.
There's surprisingly practical things we can actually do.
Like right now?
Like right now, exactly.
Right.
So get ready to pull out some seriously potent tools.
Happiness boosting tools. Yeah.
That's right. From this book, ones you can start using today.
You know what I find so interesting is we often think of happiness as this elusive thing.
Like it just happens.
Yeah, like it just happens to us.
Right.
But Gerbyshak flips that around, shows us how much control we actually have.
Okay, I love that. But before we get there,
Yeah.
let's tackle this big question.
The big one.
What even is happiness? We all use the word, but it can mean so many different things to different people.
It's like driving without a destination.
Ooh.
You end up going in circles and feeling frustrated because you never actually arrive anywhere.
You just keep driving.
You just keep driving. Defining what happiness means to you is that crucial first step.
So no more chasing after someone else's version of happiness. No more comparing ourselves to those perfect Instagram lives.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
Dr. Sanja Lyubomirsky's research shows that only 10% of our happiness is influenced by external circumstances.
Like wealth, where we live.
Exactly, things like that. Then there's the 50% that's just our genetics.
That's interesting.
Our natural set point,
Okay.
But get this, a whopping 40% is influenced by intentional activity.
Hold on. 40%.
40%.
That's almost half. You're telling me we have that much power to influence our own happiness?
It's not just a theory, it's backed by research. And intentional activity means those habits, choices, even thoughts we cultivate consistently.
Okay, so it's like we're taking the reins.
You got it.
We're directing our own happiness journey.
Exactly.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
So if we have this 40% to work with,
Yeah.
what are some of the most effective strategies to boost it?
Well,
Gerbyshak introduces this awesome framework called the PERMA model, which I think gives us a pretty solid blueprint.
it does. It does. PERMA stands for positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment.
Okay, I was going to ask what it stood for.
It's a mouthful,
It is.
but it's not about being, happy-go-lucky all the time.
Right, life happens.
Life definitely happens, throws us curveballs. But PERMA shows us that well-being comes from cultivating these 5 interconnected elements.
Like a recipe.
Think of it like a recipe for a fulfilling life.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's more about building resilience.
Yeah.
Finding ways to experience joy even when things are tough. Having that sense of purpose.
Exactly.
Got it. Now, I remember Gerbyshak also talked about those happy chemicals in our brains.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love those.
Like dopamine, serotonin.
Absolutely. These chemicals are like the biological foundation of happiness.
Uh,
Dopamine, for example, is linked to reward and motivation.
So that feeling after you check something off your to-do list,
Yes. It's that little burst of satisfaction you get after completing a task.
even something small.
Even something small. And then you have serotonin, which is often called the mood stabilizer.
Yep.
And things like getting enough sunlight and exercise can help boost its production.
Uh-huh. So that's why a sunny walk always makes me feel so good.
There you go.
What about those other two? Oxytocin and endorphins.
Right.
They sound familiar, but remind me what they do again.
Oxytocin is all about connection and social bonding.
Okay.
That warm feeling you get when you hug a loved one, spend time with good friends.
Or even just offer a compliment to a stranger.
Exactly. Even a small act of kindness can trigger it. And endorphins are those natural painkillers released during physical activity.
Ah, the runner's high.
That's the one. They create that runner's high and reduce stress.
Wow, so it's like we have these built-in happiness boosters, and we can actually trigger them
We do.
by doing certain things.
It's incredible, isn't it?
That's incredibly empowering.
It is.
But let's get a little more practical.
Sure.
What are some of the specific practices Gerbyshak recommends for boosting these happy chemicals and just, cultivating well-being?
One of the most powerful tools, and one that's backed by tons of research, is gratitude.
Gratitude.
It's not just some fluffy, feel-good concept.
Right.
Studies have shown that practicing gratitude regularly can lead to increased happiness, lower stress, better sleep, even improved physical health.
I'm totally on board with gratitude. But honestly, sometimes it feels a little, I don't know, forced. Like I'm trying to convince myself to be grateful for things I'm not actually feeling grateful for.
I get it, I get it. And Gerbyshak addresses this too. He actually shares a really cool story about how he started a 3 good things practice on social media,
Ooh, I like that.
where he would post 3 things he was grateful for each day.
Okay.
And what's interesting is it created this ripple effect.
People started joining in.
Yeah, people started joining in and sharing their own 3 good things.
I love that.
Turning it into this amazing community of gratitude.
That's awesome. It's like surrounding yourself with positivity.
Exactly.
And speaking of connection, I remember a pretty mind-blowing point from the book about the importance of relationship.
Oh, yeah.
There was something about the Harvard Grant study, right?
That study is incredible. It followed hundreds of men for over 75 years.
Wow, 75 years.
And found that strong social connections were the most significant factor in predicting happiness and longevity,
Really?
more than wealth or even health.
Wait, more than health?
Seriously.
Seriously?
It really emphasizes how vital it is to nurture those close, supportive relationships.
The ones that bring joy, trust, and a sense of belonging.
That's it. Those are the key ingredients.
Okay, that's a major takeaway for sure. But let's be honest. In our busy lives, relationships can sometimes feel like another thing on our to-do list.
It's true. It's true.
What does Gerbyshak suggest for making sure we're giving them the attention they deserve?
He talks about these 3 key qualities of truly recharging relationships: trust, positivity, and mutuality.
Okay, break those down for me.
Trust means feeling safe and accepted. Positivity refers to those relationships that bring joy and encouragement into your life.
Okay.
And mutuality is all about that balance of giving and receiving.
So both parties are invested in the connection.
Exactly.
Got it. It's not just about having people around you.
Right.
It's about the quality of those connections.
You got it.
I'm starting to realize that building a happy life is a lot like building a house.
How so?
You need a strong foundation.
What a great analogy. And building on that foundation,
Yes.
Gerbyshak introduces a concept that might surprise some people.
Play.
Play. He argues it's crucial for adult happiness. Really?
Creativity and well-being.
I can already hear some people saying play. I don't have time for play.
I've got responsibilities.
Exactly. But honestly, I get it. It's easy to get so caught up in adulting that we forget to let loose and have fun.
Gerbyshak acknowledges those barriers, for sure.
Okay, good.
Dr. Stuart Brown, a leading researcher on play, defines it as any activity that's fun, voluntary,
Okay.
and done for its own sake.
I like that.
And he emphasizes that play isn't frivolous.
Okay.
It actually boosts creativity, reduces stress.
And strengthens relationships.
Yes. Plus, it's one of the best ways to tap into that flow state.
That feeling of being totally absorbed in the moment.
Exactly, which we know is a key ingredient for happiness.
Right, right. Okay. I'm definitely feeling inspired to bring back more play into my life.
Good, good.
But before we get carried away with all this fun stuff,
Yeah.
let's tackle something that can sometimes feel a bit heavier. Mindset.
Oh, mindset. That's a big one.
It is a big one. Gerbyshak dives into the work of Dr. Carol Dweck.
Who talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset?
Huge difference.
Right.
Dweck's research shows that people with a growth mindset, those who believe their abilities can be developed through effort and learning, tend to be more resilient, embrace challenges.
And they achieve greater success in life.
They do.
And Gerbyshak even shares a personal story from the book about how he completely bombed a presentation.
Oh, no.
But because of his growth mindset, he was able to reframe the experience as a learning opportunity instead of a failure.
It's all about the reframe.
It is.
It's about consciously choosing to see a situation from a different perspective.
Okay.
Focusing on the positive aspects or the possibilities instead of getting stuck in negativity.
Right, so it's not just about thinking positive thoughts.
Right.
We're actually changing the physical structure of our brains.
We are. You know, there's actual neuroscience behind it.
Oh, tell me more.
Our brains are wired for negativity bias. It's a survival mechanism from our ancestors.
That's fascinating.
But we can rewire our brains for positivity through conscious effort.
Whoa, rewiring our brains. That sounds pretty high tech.
It is, in a way. By consistently focusing on positive thoughts, practicing gratitude.
And challenging those negative thoughts.
Yes, when they arise.
Or strengthening those neural pathways.
Exactly, the ones associated with optimism and resilience.
This is blowing my mind.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
It is.
But let's bring it back to some practical tools that Gerbyshak recommends for cultivating a growth mindset.
Okay. What are some of his tips?
He emphasizes the importance of questioning our thoughts.
Because not every thought is true or helpful.
Exactly. So when you notice a negative thought, pause and ask yourself, is this thought helpful?
What evidence supports it?
Is there a more empowering way to see this situation?
Okay, so really challenge those thoughts.
Exactly. He also suggests using positive affirmations.
Those short, powerful statements that reinforce positive beliefs.
Those are the ones. And visualizing success, which can actually prime your brain for achievement.
I love how all these tools are interconnected.
Me too.
We talked about gratitude earlier, and now we see how it plays a role in cultivating a positive mindset, too.
It's like a virtuous cycle.
It really is.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've laid a pretty solid foundation here, but I know there's a lot more to unpack in Gerbyshak's book.
Oh, absolutely. We've just scratched the surface.
Okay, good.
He also delves into the crucial role of sleep, movement, nutrition, and rest in creating a happy and fulfilling life.
Wow, so much to explore.
There is.
But I think we've covered enough ground for this part of our deep dive.
I agree.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into those additional practices and start building our personalized happiness toolboxes.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into happiness. You've heard the science, you've got the big picture.
We're ready to get practical.
That's right, we're not just talking about abstract concepts anymore.
Right.
We're going to build your own happiness toolbox.
A toolbox?
Something you can actually use in your everyday life.
I like that. A toolbox?
Think of it like a toolkit for those inevitable moments when you need a boost, a reset,
Yeah.
or just a reminder of what truly matters.
Okay, so where do we even begin building this happiness toolbox? Do we just, cram all the stuff we've learned into it and hope for the best?
Not quite. Gerbyshak reminds us that just like a physical toolbox,
Yeah.
your happiness toolbox should be personalized.
Okay, personalized.
It needs to contain the tools that work best for you.
Got it.
So let's take a look back at all those amazing practices we've discussed. Defining your version of happiness.
Gratitude, nurturing relationship.
Embracing play. Cultivating a growth mindset.
Oh, and boosting those happy chemicals in our brains.
Exactly. Remember, you don't have to include every single practice.
Right.
Start with the ones that feel most natural, enjoyable, and aligned with your values and needs.
Right.
It's not about striving for perfection. It's about making small, consistent changes that add up to a big difference in your overall well-being.
So it's sustainable, not overwhelming.
You gotta...
Nobody wants to be digging through a jumbled mess of tools when they're already feeling stressed.
No, definitely not. And Gerbyshak also encourages experimentation.
Experimentation.
Try out different tools in different situations and see what works best for you.
Okay.
You might find certain practices are more effective for handling stress, while others are better for boosting your mood or getting those creative juices flowing.
It's like finding the right wrench for the job.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say I've identified a few tools I want in my toolbox. What's next? Do I just, mentally add them to my to-do list?
Mental to-do lists are notorious for getting lost in the shuffle.
True.
Gerbyshak has a much better idea.
Makes that.
He suggests making your happiness toolbox visible.
Visible, like wearing it on a t-shirt.
Not quite. He means creating a physical or digital reminder of your chosen tools.
Okay.
It could be a simple list on your phone, a sticky note on your bathroom mirror,
A journal where you track your progress.
or even a fun vision board with images and affirmations that represent your happiness goals.
Ooh, I love the vision board idea.
Me too.
I'm a very visual person, so having those images and reminders around me would definitely be helpful.
It's about creating those subtle cues to keep those practices top of mind.
Okay.
Because let's be honest, sometimes we all need a little nudge to stay on track.
We do.
Okay, so we've chosen our tools, we're experimenting with them, we're keeping it simple.
And we're making it visible.
What else can we do to make these practices stick?
I like that, making them stick.
Consistency is key. Gerbyshak suggests scheduling happiness check-ins.
Happiness check-ins.
Just like you would schedule any important appointment.
Like I have to report to someone about how happy I am.
Not at all. It's about carving out time each week or month to reflect on your well-being.
Good.
Ask yourself, am I using my tools? Are there areas where I feel stuck or unhappy?
What can I adjust or add to my routine?
You got it.
So it's like a self-assessment.
Yeah,
A chance to take inventory and make sure my happiness toolbox is still serving me.
absolutely. And don't forget to celebrate those small wins.
The small wins.
Acknowledge the progress you've made, even if it seems insignificant.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so focused on what we haven't achieved yet that we forget to appreciate how far we've come.
That's a really good point.
It is.
Okay, this is all making so much sense. But what about those moments when life throws us a curveball and happiness feels totally out of reach? We can't just whip out our gratitude journal and expect all our problems to vanish, can we?
You're absolutely right. Life is full of challenges, and there will be times when happiness feels elusive.
Right.
But that's where our happiness toolbox becomes even more valuable.
Okay.
So it's not about pretending to be happy all the time.
It's about having those resources to navigate the difficult times with more resilience and grace.
Exactly. And when you're feeling overwhelmed, Gerby Shack offers a really simple 3-step process for hitting the reset button.
3 steps. Okay.
First, pause.
Awesome.
Take a deep breath and acknowledge how you're feeling without judgment.
So just be in the moment,
Be present with your emotions,
even if it's not a happy place.
even if it's not a happy place. Then, choose a tool from your toolbox.
Okay.
Think about what might be most helpful in that moment.
Okay.
Do you need to move your body? Practice gratitude. Connect with a loved one. Or maybe you just need to rest and recharge.
We have options.
We do.
We're not powerless.
You got it. We have tools to help us shift our perspective and find our way back to a place of peace and well-being.
I love that.
And the third step is to take small steps.
Small steps. Okay.
Happiness doesn't have to happen all at once.
Right.
Small actions can create a ripple effect that gradually brings you back to center.
It's about those tiny course corrections
Yeah.
that steer us back in the right direction.
You said it perfectly. Inch
Yeah.
by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard.
I love that.
Mm.
All this talk about toolboxes is making me want to actually create mine.
Me too. Let's get practical.
Okay, let's do it.
Grab a piece of paper or open a journal and divide it into 3 sections. Daily tools, weekly tools, and reset tools.
3 sections. Got it.
All right, got my journal ready.
Okay, in the daily tools section,
Yeah.
jot down those practices you want to incorporate into your routine every single day.
Okay.
Maybe it's a quick gratitude practice when you wake up, a few minutes of mindful breathing throughout the day, or listening to an inspiring podcast on your commute.
Love it. And in the weekly tools section,
Yeah.
we'll list those practices that we might want to schedule on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Maybe it's a phone call with a friend, a date night with your partner, a Sunday afternoon hike in nature.
Perfect. And finally, reset tools.
The reset tools.
Those go-to habits that you can lean on when you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or just need a little pick-me-up.
Got it.
Maybe it's a relaxing bath, a funny movie, a walk in the park, or indulging in your favorite hobby.
This is like creating our own personalized happiness menus.
Yes.
Now we have a blueprint to refer to whenever we need a reminder of those practices that support our well-being.
I love it. We're not just talking about happiness in theory.
Right.
We're actually taking concrete steps to make it a reality in our daily lives.
I like that.
But before we move on, I think it's important to touch on something Gerby Shack emphasizes: the legacy of your happiness toolbox.
He's talking about that ripple effect.
The ripple effect, right?
The idea that our happiness isn't just about us.
It impacts the people around us.
Exactly. Our happiness can inspire others to find their own.
It can be contagious almost.
It really can. Our kindness can create a chain reaction of positivity.
And our resilience can show others what's possible.
Love that.
So by committing to our own well-being, we're not just making our own lives better, but we're actually contributing to a happier and more compassionate world.
That's powerful stuff.
It really is a pretty inspiring thought.
It is.
Okay, deep divers, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
Rav.
We've talked about building our toolboxes, experimenting with different practices, making our happiness visible, scheduling those check-ins, celebrating our wins.
And remembering that ripple effect.
I think we're ready for the final part of this happiness extravaganza.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll explore Gerby Shack's final thoughts on happiness and leave you with a challenge that can truly transform your life.
Welcome back, deep divers. We have explored the science, we've built our happiness toolboxes,
Toolboxes ready?
and now it's time to wrap up our journey with some final wisdom from Gerby Shack.
The final wisdom.
I'm ready for that big takeaway. What's the lasting message he wants to leave us with?
Well, he reminds us that happiness isn't like a finish line you cross or some static state
Yes.
you achieve and then cling to forever.
Okay.
It's more like a dance,
Dance.
with its constant flow and ebb.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Takes the pressure off.
It does, because honestly, I used to think if I wasn't happy all the time,
Yeah.
I was doing something wrong.
It's easy to fall into that trap.
But you're saying those down days are normal.
Totally normal. Part of being human
Yeah.
and knowing that is half the battle.
Like, okay, this feeling is here, but it's not the whole story of me.
Exactly.
And that's where our trusty toolboxes come in handy. We've got our gratitude practices, ways to connect, things that get us moving, help us rest.
Those resources help us ride those inevitable waves of life.
Yeah, because waves they are.
Knowing we have the power to shift our perspective,
Right.
nourish our well-being,
And find those sparks of joy, even when things are tough.
even when things are tough.
But one thing that really struck me was Gerbyshak's emphasis on small, intentional steps.
Small steps.
He's not talking about, like, grand gestures
Right.
or massive overhauls.
No, he's all about those tiny, consistent actions that we weave into our daily lives.
Okay.
It's not waiting for someday when everything's perfect to start being happy.
Yeah.
It's about making those small choices day in and day out
Right.
that create that ripple effect of joy.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure.
What are some of those small choices that can have such a big impact?
Think about it. Saying thank you to the barista
Right.
who made your coffee.
Okay.
Taking 5 minutes to stretch and breathe deeply. Sending a quick text to a friend just to say, hi.
Oh, yeah.
Putting your phone away during dinner to connect with your family.
Wow, you're right. Those are all things we can do right now
Yeah.
in the midst of our busy lives.
Exactly.
It's not about adding more to our to-do lists.
It's about infusing little moments of happiness into the things we're already doing.
It is.
And those small acts not only benefit us,
Right.
but they impact the people around us too.
It's like that butterfly effect,
Yeah.
right? One small positive action can create this ripple of goodness that spreads outward.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact if we all committed to those small acts of kindness, gratitude, joy.
Wow. The world would be a different place.
It would.
I think Gerbyshak is reminding us that we are the authors of our own happiness.
We are.
We have the power to choose how we respond to challenges
How we spend our time and energy.
and how we show up in the world.
Absolutely.
Hit the nail on the head.
We can focus on the negative or seek out the positive.
Dwell in the past or embrace the present moment.
Isolate ourselves or choose connection.
It's all about those choices
The choices we make.
that shape our experience of life.
That's it.
And sometimes it's just one small shift in perspective,
Mm-hmm.
one tiny act of courage.
That can create a massive wave of happiness.
It really can. But what about those times when happiness feels impossible? Life throws us curveballs. We face setbacks.
Right.
Sometimes we just feel down for no reason.
Yeah, it happens.
What do we do then?
It's important to acknowledge this is a journey,
Right.
not a destination.
Okay, a journey.
There will be days when we stumble, fall short, and happiness feels like a distant dream.
It does sometimes.
It's about showing up, trying our best, and giving ourselves grace along the way.
It's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Absolutely. Embracing the messiness of life,
Yeah,
the imperfections, the challenges, it's all part of it.
part of it.
And even amidst those difficult moments,
Yes.
there's always a spark of joy waiting to be ignited.
We just have to be willing to look for it. And remember, deep divers, you are not alone on this journey.
We're all in this together.
We have each other to lean on, to inspire.
To remind each other that happiness is always within reach.
It really is. Now, are you ready for Gerbyshak's final challenge? The one he says can transform your life.
Hit me with it.
He challenges us to choose one practice from his book, just one,
Okay.
and commit to doing it every day for the next 30 days.
That's brilliant.
Wow.
It's not about overhauling our lives. It's about focusing on one small action and turning it into a habit.
I'm in. What about you? Which practice are you going to choose for your 30-day challenge?
So many good options.
I know, right?
I think I'm going to start with a daily gratitude practice.
Okay, gratitude. I'm feeling inspired to bring back more play into my life.
Play. Good one.
Maybe a daily dose of silliness, 5 minutes of dancing to my favorite song,
Oh, I like that.
a quick game with my kids, or just doodling in my journal.
Love it. And remember, happiness doesn't have to be perfect.
It does
It's something we get to practice.
We get to practice it.
Start small, stay consistent, give yourself grace along the way, and watch as the magic unfolds.
And on that note, it's time for us to wrap up.
Wrap it up.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of happiness. We've laughed, we've
You
learned,
have.
and hopefully we've all walked away with some powerful tools to create a happier and more fulfilling life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's been a joy to explore this with you.
Likewise.
Until next time, keep diving deep,
Keep diving.
keep exploring, keep growing, and keep choosing happiness.